Is Genesis 45:16 the most convicting verse in the Bible? Well, imagine this scenario. Someone that you care very deeply about wounds you, and I mean they wound you fiercely. And in your pain, you go to your family, you go to your friends, and you tell them about this horrible deed that your loved one committed against you. How do those who love you respond when they hear about this egregious evil? Well, they're going to sympathize with you. They're going to say things like, "You didn't deserve that," and they'll reap what they sow. Or maybe they'll say, "You know what? They were never really your friend in the first place." You get the idea. Now, imagine that after you have just bad-mouthed this horrible person who did you dirty for years, the scumbag shows up hat in hand asking for help because they need you. Your friends hear about them showing up. How do you think your friends and family are going to feel about this? You think they're going to be happy? Excited? Maybe they'll all line up in anticipation of witnessing the biggest apology in history. See, when Moses frees the Hebrews, there are a number of them who constantly complain and accuse Moses of bringing them into the wilderness to kill them. Well, what's the reaction? Korah leads a rebellion and tries to overthrow Moses. See, they were affected and infected by the evil report, and it changed how they thought about Moses. Haman, he spoke evil of the Jews to King Xerxes. He framed them and said, "These people are a threat." Did the king investigate Haman's claims? No. He agreed to a plot to kill the Jews. He was poisoned by Haman's words. Now, from a historical standpoint, consider the Salem witch trials, You got women who are burned at the stake on the testimony of someone having a dream that someone did something nefarious. The so-called witches didn't even have a chance to defend themselves. What a powerful example of how wrong that foolish saying of "sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me" is. See, the tongue, it really does have the power of life and death. Now, lest any of us think we are above such visceral reactions, let's think about the man that the Bible says was a man after God's own heart. When the prophet Nathan told David about that monster who took the poor man's little ewe lamb, well, David was instantly prepared to kill the man who turned out to be himself. See, the truth is, when we hear an evil report about someone else, we all have a tendency to think less of that person. Even if we don't get to hear their side of the story, even if they don't have a chance to explain themselves. And let me tell you, this is why Genesis 45:16 hit me like an Acme anvil when I read it. Let me pull it up. It says, "When the report was heard in Pharaoh's house, Joseph's brothers have come. It pleased Pharaoh and his servants." Now, how many times I've read that story and jumped right past that? Okay, this time I realized something. How could Pharaoh and his servants have felt pleased? That word in Hebrew means to be happy, to be joyful. In my mind, I believe that means Joseph didn't trash his brothers when he had every right to do it. He even says that he is like a father to Pharaoh. The king gave him his daughter as his wife. This leads me to believe that they were close, that they had relationship. And yet, I'm convinced Pharaoh didn't know about his family drama. To me, Joseph is a hero. Self-control was that brother's superpower. He resisted the temptation of Potiphar's wife. He resisted the urge to curse God when he was thrown into a pit, thrown into jail, forgotten, and then he bit his tongue when he felt the urge to throw shade at his brothers. Here's some other verses to chew on. Look these up if you have time. James 4:11, it says, "Do not speak evil of one another, brothers." Leviticus 19:6 says, "You shall not go about as a slanderer among your people." Proverbs 6:16 through 19 says, "Among the 7 things that God hates and considers abominations, the last one is one who sows discord among brothers." 1 Peter 2:1 says, "Let us lay aside all malice and all evil speaking." Titus 3:2, it says, "Speak evil of no one, but be peaceable, gentle, and show humility to everyone." Now, there are plenty more, but maybe you feel the same swift kick in the convictions that I do when cruising through these passages. In fact, there are plenty of verses that speak about the rewards for those who keep their mouths shut. Here's some positive verses for you. In Psalms 15, 1 through 3, it answers the question, who may dwell in your sacred tent and live on your holy mountain? The Bible says it's the one whose tongue utters no slander and casts no slur on others. Yeshua said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. And the grand finale verse in my mind would be Proverbs 17 and 9. It says, whoever would foster love covers over an offense, but whoever repeats the matter separates close friends. When someone wounds us, it is easy to run around and trash that person to everybody. It doesn't matter if what you're saying is true or not. The Bible is clear that we are called to be peacemakers and to speak evil of no one. I am going to have to work on that. How about you? Thanks for watching.